Hello everyone, welcome to the episode 33 of Solid Saturday. The guest we have today, Srivasan Srinivasan. He has extensive experience in data science, data architecture, and business. So let's hear his career journey. How did he find his interest in the data field and managing to lead his area of interest? So welcome Srivasan and very happy to have you on the show. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and thank you, Lisa, for having me. I really like being privileged to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I always your post follow your posts as well on the LinkedIn, and those are definitely insightful. So very happy to have you. So
Thank
to
you.
begin with, um, when I came across your profile, I saw that your profile is completely aligned towards your area of interest. Actually, you never diverted to some other area or something. You're working in the specific field, architecture side, and then you have the expertise in the data science, architecture, and the business. So, when did you find your interest in that area?
Yeah. So actually, like I diverted to data science. That's how I would say. I started my career as a Java developer,
Mhm,
and I soon realized that that is not my forte.
mhm,
It's not that I don't like programming or Java, just that like I felt like I was kind of it did not fit me well with all the object-oriented programming and everything.
uh-huh,
And slowly I moved on to the back-end side of the application development, that is data. And I started focusing more on SQL side, ETL side, and everything. So that's how my data journey started. Maybe the initial 2 years I was in Java, and then it was completely on the backend side. I have been in multiple phases of data all my career. I have been on the business side of it. I have closely worked with financial customer, so
mhm,
I understand the finance business. I understand the processes of finance.
mhm.
Then coming to data, I have been on ETL, I have been a data modeler, I have been a data architect, I have been a data engineer. And as the technology progressed, so I have been kind of moving on with it. And then finally to the machine learning side of it.
Yeah, so I feel like the way the data field evolved, you were there in all the phases of that evolution process. So
Yeah, that's it. I always feel like it's better to stay with the technology because this is a very rapid development phase, and like you don't want to let be. So I always follow the technology movement as well.
yeah, yeah, that's very true. Actually, it's very important to be on the technology side. So thank you so much for sharing and moving towards your area of interest. So what are the changes actually do you see now and then in this field? How did it evolve?
So when I started, like maybe the data side was more like a cost center,
Mm-hmm,
right? Not like a profit center. People were looking data to generate insights on what happened. Now,
mm-hmm,
field has evolved a lot. One is today we have access to more data than before.
mm-hmm,
And it's not only the internally business generated data, it is also external third party data. So a
mm-hmm,
lot of our business process caters toward third party data, right? And the way the business has changed today is today data is driving the business. So basically data is looked as a profit center rather than a cost center. And specifically on the technology side, there has been lot of research and innovation. One is the accelerated computing, like GPUs and TPUs have made some use cases possible that was not there before. We were more focused towards structured data. Now
mm-hmm,
I see it's a combination of structured and unstructured data, and thanks to all the deep learning evolution and everything, more human like accuracy on unstructured data has been
mm-hmm.
made possible.
That's great, actually. And moving towards our next question is along the same line, which is about as you are on the both the sides, data scientist as well as architecture side of it. So, what is the difference between the data scientist and the architect when it comes to the roles and responsibilities?
So, if you see, both are, I would say, complementing in the context of the business process,
Mm-hmm,
but from the skill set, both are completely different. So,
mm-hmm,
how I look at in any company, both are needed.
mm-hmm,
You need the data architecture, which I call it as a horizontal capability,
uh-huh,
right? So basically, your data architecture cut across your entire enterprise business process.
mm-hmm,
And when we talk about data science or the insight generation cycle, I feel it's very specific to the vertical capability. That is like it can be an underwriting business, it can be a marketing business. So if you don't have a sound foundational architecture and data management, your insight will also not be really production ready, or the insight cannot be trusted. So I feel both are complementing. But this, when you talk specifically about skill set, the data architecture focuses on the platform side of it, the
Mhm.
data management side of it, the data onboarding side of it, and the data scientist more on generating insights out of the data. So in
Mhm.
order to democratize insight within any enterprise, you need to have a sound data architecture as well. So both go hand in hand.
Oh, okay. So that is very good to know actually that those both are like hand in hand, goes hand in hand, and it's important to know a little bit of the data architecture side as well when you think about being the good data scientist.
Yeah, the
So,
thing is like your data scientist not productionized, right? Your when you want to productionize your data science, you need to integrate with your business process, and the architecture is pretty key on how you want to scale your data science.
mhm. Yeah, that's great actually. And when you think about being a data scientist, what do you think is the most challenging part of the work, and what excites you in this field?
So when we talk about challenging part, I see collecting the data is pretty challenging
Mm-hmm.
because the main thing is the data in enterprise comes in multiple format. It
Mm-hmm.
can be your mainframe file, it can be XML, JSON. The data can be spread across tons of system, right? So the data collection is one part, and second thing is deployment of the model itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? The reason is like you may have the best model with the best accuracy, with the best algorithm, or whatever it is, right? But if you don't make it operationalize, you're not generating any business value over there. You are just a technology competency, right?
Uh-huh.
So I feel like collecting the data, because you can use a lot of data, you don't know like which data will work better. So
Mhm,
you are doing a multiple hypothesis with multiple data sources and multiple
mhm.
features. That is one part of it, and then deploying the model itself is the second part, which I feel is pretty complex.
Okay, that's great actually. And already you mentioned that how the data science and the architecture are correlated, and then you mentioned that as well, that bringing the business value out of it. So how these terms, data science, architecture, and business, are kind of interrelated itself actually. So when we think about organization level, we need all these things. So
Right.
any specific points you would like to highlight for all these area of expertise that you have?
Yeah. So if you take a data life cycle, right? Like if you even take any data science life cycle,
Mhm.
it starts with your business understanding, and finally, it is how you action on the business understanding, right? So that is a whole process towards it. So it is not like your business, your architecture, your data science coexist separately. These go hand in hand. So
Mm,
when if you start with the typical life cycle, your business is what is generating data, right? Your business process is what is generating data. It can be a fraud business process. It can be your prospecting or marketing, campaign management. So data is your underlying knowledge in the business process. Now, for you to understand your data, you need a sound understanding of your business process, and that's the intersection between business and data. Now, from data, you can understand the business, but in that case, you're forming an intuition as well, which
mm,
is not right. So your business and data go hand in hand. Now, when it comes to the data, right, like you need a sound data platform where data scientists worry only about insights, not about data. Do I
mhm,
have this data? Do I have that data?
mhm,
Where can I find my data? The
mhm,
data scientist does not want to worry about that part of it, right?
mhm,
That's where your data architectures and everything intersect with your data. Now, then once your data scientist starts working on the insight cycle of it.
mhm,
Insight is nothing but if your data is your knowledge,
mhm,
insight is the understanding of that knowledge, right? You generate your data analysis, do your expertise data analysis, right? And finally, you generate your action on the data, your action on your insight.
mhm,
So to be successful in an organization, if you think from an enterprise-wide capability, you need all the parts to be attached together. It's
mhm.
kind of not like one can there be there, other can be there. Maybe you find short-term success with that scenario, but you are not really democratizing AI with that.
Yes, yes, that's true. And thank you so much for sharing. That is definitely very knowledgeable and insightful. So, when you are talking, actually, it truly shows your passion towards the field because you are very specific and you know in and out of this field very much. So, what are the latest things happening currently in this field?
I think a lot of research is going on in the deep learning space.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see is like all the new architectures like transformers or BERT or something, this will be more kind of democratized. Because if you take like a scenario of speech to text or scenario like translation,
Mm-hmm.
enterprise do not have a lot of data to do translations or speech to text,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these are more will be available as cloud APIs and already available.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever research we see on that side will become very accessible to the enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
It will be just an API call away, right? And other part I see is like the auto ML part is also evolving.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to kind of make life easy of a data scientist. I don't see it as a competitor of data scientists, but some of the real data science job is boring as well. It's kind of repetitive. You need something to automate that. Other key aspect is operationalizing model deployment, operationalizing your machine learning models. See, half of the company fail in ML processes because they don't know how to put it into production. The
Mm-hmm.
ML ops is the other area which I'm seeing is evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Getting your model close to your business process, the edge analytics and the federated learning. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everything can be an API call. You need to deploy your model inside your business process. It can be your missions, it can be your fridges, it can be anything. Anything is possible today.
Mm-hmm.
Edge analytics is other part, and I feel like explainability is a continuous research. We are
Uh-huh.
not going to solve an explainability problem at least for the next 3 years, but there will be a lot of research that will make it easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. And one more question, actually, it is from my side. So when we are talking more about productionizing or deploying the solution, um, how the version control works actually, which platforms are the best to do the version controlling?
There,
Yeah.
there is always, yeah, that's a very good question, right? Because our data keeps on changing and new version of model keeps on coming.
Mhm,
So there are two things, like you have build versus buy.
mhm,
Either you can build your own version control system, you
mhm,
can use even Git as your
mhm,
repository,
mhm,
where you have a project and you can have multiple version, and then you maintain a metadata table
mhm,
where you connect your model version to your Git, right? The reason is it's not that always you will run one model. You may sometimes want to do a A/B testing or champion challenge analysis, and
mhm,
you need both the model. So that is one way of versioning where you build yourself. Second, the buy aspect of it, I'm also seeing. I will not say buy. I'm also seeing a lot of open source coming into play.
mhm,
A typical open source that I see is MLflow,
mhm,
which has both capability of versioning your artifacts and versioning your model.
mhm,
I would not say like it has 100% support today, but that's a good thing to track. There is also an TensorFlow extended
mhm,
model management component. Now, because the TensorFlow name is that it's not only for TensorFlow,
mhm,
it supports all of other packages and algorithms as well.
mhm,
So the space is evolving.
mhm,
Either you can take a choice of custom building something yourself, where you do proper model management,
mhm.
or you can go with open source technologies, or you can go with platform providers as well. There are a lot of outside buy providers where you can go.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're so knowledgeable, actually. I'm very happy to have you on the show. So, moving towards our next question, which I almost ask everybody in the data space, that which is your favorite algorithm and why?
Maybe I'm going to disappoint you. I would say like the favorite algorithm for me is the curiosity,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I feel like algorithms are good. There is a lot of maturity. Every algorithm has a strength. Like when we talk about unstructured data, maybe the deep learning performs better. It's not always. It
Mm-hmm.
depends. Like most of the time, it might, but even a simple technique might solve your problem sometimes. And when it comes to tabular data, maybe ensemble models are good. But I think like your curiosity is the best algorithm to drive value to even self and business, right? Now, your curiosity to understand the problem, understand the business process, understand the data, right? For many problem, your curiosity can keep your solution very simple. Like
Mm-hmm.
the more you talk to data, more you work with data, more you analyze data, maybe you will find a simpler solution. You may even tell, okay, I just need some bunch of rules to
Mm-hmm.
deploy my. You don't need an algorithm at all. Right? So I would say follow your curiosity rather following the algorithm.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I definitely like the answer so far, because I always get some biased answers, or some people would say that, more or come up with optimized answer, like whichever algorithm gives you less overfitting, or, which is best to derive the solution. So this is the best answer I received. And I feel
I would
like
say like,
curiosity is definitely the one part whenever
and
you.
I would say when approaching the problem, don't approach it with an algorithm in mind. So sometimes the answer can be very simple. It can be a simple data mining activity or even an data engineering activity as well.
Yeah.
So focus more on data rather than the algorithm.
Yep, yep. Thank you so much for sharing. And our next question is along the same line. How do you think that, you already mentioned that there are AutoML platforms which are more over like helping the data scientist. So do you use any such platform, and would you like to share if you use any?
So I have used a lot of AutoML platform, and in fact, like if you've seen some of my videos, I create a lot of videos on AutoML.
Mm-hmm,
So the major one I have used is H2O AutoML.
mm-hmm,
That is one I have used it. If you take AutoML, right, the focus is purely on the machine learning part,
mm-hmm.
not the entire life cycle,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm,
And the way I look at it, you still need data scientists to uh, analyze your data, create features out of it, what works best, bring the domain knowledge to it,
mm-hmm,
and then doing an post-model analysis as well. But
mm-hmm,
if you take the intermediate activity, right, I have data, which algorithm works better. There
mm-hmm,
is no fun in doing a fit and predict of each and every algorithm we know. So
mm-hmm,
why not let AutoML do it for you? Right? Think it as an assistant for you, right? It just helping you out, getting the initial intuition. And once you have the initial baseline algorithm that works for your data, take the top two algorithm and create features, see how it works. And finally, once you are comfortable with the initial feature engineering, again use AutoML to do hyperparameter optimization for you. Again, frankly, there's no fun really to set each and every learning rate and run a grid search. So, for a data scientist to be successful and to deliver value faster, you need something that can accelerate a data scientist work, and that's where AutoML comes into play.
yep, yep. Thank you so much for sharing. And do you have any favorite programming language that you always use? Like,
So I kind of started my career with Java,
uh-huh,
and then I slowly I know Java, I know multiple language Java, Scala, and Python.
mm-hmm,
Uh, I have done some part of R, uh,
uh-huh,
but since like a lot of programming language have been Python, my environment I use Python. I'm more comfortable with Python. At the same time, when I'm building some frameworks,
uh-huh,
like a reusable framework that can be used across multiple things, I am more comfortable with Scala or Java as well.
mhm.
But Python, if I have to really stand out one language, then it's definitely Python. Now I cannot code TensorFlow in Java. I cannot code PyTorch in Java or whatever it is.
Yeah, Python come up with lots of libraries and
That
packages.
is right. That
Actually,
is
when I started my career, I remember
right.
that Python was, I was using Python scripting for automating the testing, unit testing. And that time Python wasn't like, people never used to talk about Python, because .NET was very popular at that time.
Right.
And everybody was talking about .NET or Android, those kind of things. And I remember that. And now after like, couple of years, it came as like a language which has everything to work on. Like, they come up with scikit-learn, or they come up with some of the good libraries or the packages for the machine learning side, which is making it like a most popular language right now.
Right, I think the Java, the Python craze started like 6, 7 years back with
Mhm.
data science. I still remember, right, what data science is today. Everybody getting into data science. That's the way Java was, and when I graduated,
Oh,
everybody went into institutes to learn Java,
mhm,
to get into the Java field.
mhm,
And even when the data engineering work started, it was more of Scala.
mhm.
But over the time, everything moved towards Python. And I feel like Python is comparatively easy as well. I don't have to do compilation and all this stuff.
Yeah, it is an interpreted language. So
Right.
like you type everything, whatever you
That
are
is right.
typing, kind of, yeah. So easy to learn as well, actually. If you go for the object oriented, it's really sometimes hard. which function is calling, like which object is calling which function, and that kind of some people
That is right.
understand it. But Python is that way is very easy. So thank you so much for sharing that. And moving towards your leadership style, it truly shows that you are leading your area of interest, and it shows from your post as well. So what is your leadership style, and any leader or that you always follow or admire?
All right. So, uh, what I feel is I'm more kind of a democratic a leader, right? Would
Mhm.
encourage discussions and flow of idea from my team. But,
Mhm.
my team has a different opinion about me. They call me more like a transformation leader because I set the kind of bar too high of delivery and everything.
Uh-huh.
So there is two perception. It's better to know from my team rather than me. That is one part of it.
Uh-huh.
Definitely, I follow some of the leadership styles pretty closely.
Uh-huh.
Couple of them is I have been inspired by Elon Musk, right, for breaking through barriers and incredible vision. Definitely, like where people have not thought, like, okay, you can think of sending somebody to Mars or creating a shuttle which is more private, not a government-run organization, making it successful,
Mhm.
not giving up on failure. So Elon Musk is one of it.
Mhm.
Inspired by Satya Nadella for his transformative leadership. And
Mhm.
frankly, I have been never serious about Microsoft
Mhm.
from the beginning of my career. Microsoft was never my wish list or I've been, but Satya Nadella is really a transformational leader. And I am a big fan of Hazim Premji.
Mhm.
Reason is because of simplicity.
Mhm.
He delivers more and then talks less.
Mhm.
So and my leadership kind of keeps on changing. But currently, these are the three. Azim Premji has always been me on my list, and Elon Musk and Satya Nadella added as they started delivering.
That's great, actually. And you are definitely a good leader. I can see that. Um, Keeping the expectations high, what do you think that you can achieve from that, actually, from the team? Putting them in the uncomfortable zone and giving them the opportunity to learn more. That builds like that gives them an opportunity to grow in their career as well. So, do you think that keeping expectations high always leads to the growth of that particular person?
It is more than the expectation high. The problem that starts happening as a leader is
Mhm.
when you try to impose your style in them.
Mhm.
Right now, you can keep helping your team on every life cycle, or you can only add your value when there's a problem. When you want to say, okay, this is some way I found success.
Mhm.
Now, better is when somebody is starting. Now, the data science, if you take data science itself, right, in that aspect of it,
Mhm.
it's all creativity, it's all problem solving. You may fail,
Mhm.
but every failure is a learning. Not all projects are going to be delivered.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need to just accept failure and move on. We must not like force into ourselves to deliver outcome. When
Mhm.
you're seeing, okay, this is not like a machine learning project, just tell your client or customer or employer that there is no point in making it work.
Mhm.
So I would say setting the bar high is not a issue, but forcing your thought into them is completely wrong. Let
Mhm.
them experiment, let them see what works, let them come up with idea, and then you add value to it.
Yep, yep, yep. And that's really very great leadership to have, actually, giving them the space to learn by themselves. Because a lot of people sometimes get into that zone where they always expect something and they look for the spoon feeding in their career, which is not
Right.
like counts towards their career growth. So it's very good leadership style to have. And I really appreciate that you shared it. Moving towards our next question is about your profile is like completely aligned towards your area of interest, because a lot of profiles I came across are more or like they transform their career into the data field, because always you have something in the boom, right? You are working in the Java, then you work on some different technology, and then you again find something leading in that space of a technology. So a lot of people like worked in the sales marketing and then landed up into the data, or they worked in some different space and they landed up. But when I see your profile is completely aligned, actually, so what do you think that makes you keep up to the speed of what are the changes happening, and what those extra steps you always take to keep you up to date?
So first thing is like the industry I work for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Banking has always been transformative. They have
Mm-hmm.
always been leading when it comes to your decision cycle and everything with data.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing I get to learn a lot. I kind of do a lot of competitive analysis on if I'm solving a problem, how is other businesses doing it? Okay, if I'm solving a payment problem, what are the fintechs doing? What are the other industry in the payment doing? So I try to read the literature, but not get carried away, because sometimes the literature is nothing but what you post for the outside public. Internally, they may be still struggling. Right? That's how research paper are not research, or research paper can be replicated to success.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of try to learn the new happenings and then try to map technology on how it can be done. Uh, the main thing is getting to the bottom of the use cases. Now, if you have a business process, what all you can do with it? If I'm running a call center, what I can do with it? If I'm running a risk management business, what can I do with it? And then kind of see how the space outside is evolving, what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the way I work.
Yeah, that's great actually. And thank you so much for sharing that. Moving towards, already you shared so many valuable insights, whatever you learned along your career journey. Uh, any books or online courses would you like to recommend to the audience who are looking to get into this space?
Yeah, so I have been always a big fan of Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the sense, like any course he launches or anything, I kind of tend to watch it closely. I
Mm-hmm.
would say the best thing for anybody to start with is Andrew Ng's ML course.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's an octave, a lot of people like get kind of demotivated. It's not Python. The best thing is, see, it's not about what Andrew Ng teaches. It's about he shares his experience over there,
Mm-hmm.
how to deal with data, right? And that's where you need to learn. If you take even deep learning, you can find a lot of literature, but
Mm-hmm.
if you go through his video, you can actually learn what are the problems he faced and what are the problems he has seen, and he's taking that as an video and experience. So I would say both. If you're starting in deep learning, Andrew Ng's course; if you're starting in machine learning, Andrew Ng's course. When it comes to books, I
Mm-hmm.
have been like, if you want to just have pure play technology view with some math, not heavily, then I would definitely say like hands-on machine learning and scikit-learn, hands-on scikit-learn and TensorFlow. Right, I forgot the
Mm-hmm.
exact name by Orion. That's a very nice book. And
Mm-hmm.
also, like, there is a book called Naked Statistics,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of walks you through how we use statistics in a daily life
Mm-hmm.
without knowing we are
Mm-hmm.
using it. So these two books.
Yep, thank you. And to end this podcast, the last question is more about the tips and advice for the people who are struggling to get into this space or trying to transform their career into the data field. Any particular tips or advice to end this podcast?
I would say like now but the thing is, the problem is people are not trying to get into data science. They
Mm-hmm.
are trying to get into machine learning. That's where the problem starts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see the market projection is, I will have million jobs in machine. They don't say that I have million jobs in machine learning. I have millions of jobs will be created in data science. And data science has multiple aspects to it. You have your visualization, you have your product management, you have your data engineering. So to be successful or to get into industry, it's very important you do the analysis on what is your strength
Mm-hmm.
and focus on that. If your strength is more like software engineering, maybe data engineering will work better. If you are data analyst, maybe the visualization side will be work better, right? So I would say do that, and also understand how industry works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sometimes the learning has to be replicated into industry, and that's when you go to interview, you'll feel more comfortable. Okay, I have solved an anomaly detection problem, and
Mm-hmm.
if I go to an interview for cybersecurity team, I can tell, okay, I have done this for a different purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
this is how I can solve your problem. So you get more confidence to it. So think it from how you connect your learnings to what industry needs.
Yeah. Thank you so much being on the show actually, and I really enjoyed talking to you. I always follow your post, but I never got a chance to interact with you, and it was like very good to meet you and talk to you in person. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and hope audience you will enjoy this episode. And as I always say, until we meet, happy leading. Let's lead together. Stay safe. Bye for now.
Thank you once more. Thank you very much, Sushma.
Thank you so much.